Folks, Saturday, July 22nd, no better place to be than right here in the living room, the right side of campus, Saturday sit-down edition. As usual, I'll be your host, Donnie Wright, with my partner in crime, Jeff Nadu, the big man on campus. Jeff, no early afternoon baseball, no time restrictions today. How about it, brother?
Yep, we can talk for as long as we want, Donnie, and you know what that means. We're going to talk for 3 or 4 hours today, maybe. But, dude, Donnie, I want to say something.
Yes.
Vin Makazian from The Sopranos died. Did you see that?
I did not see it. When was this? Why aren't I getting any updates on this on Twitter?
He passed away at 72 years. He was 72 years old. Wow. He played in Home Alone and played in a lot of movies. Kevin McAllister, if you remember.
Yes.
So he died. So one of my least favorite actors from Sopranos has passed, but I'm sure he's looking down, and he was in a lot of good movies, Donnie. I can't.
One of your least favorite actors in Sopranos, did you say?
I hated him. I hated his character. But we're back. Another day, another dollar, Donnie, and I'm excited for another full-length baseball card. We've been having some problems. I don't know what the issue here with the link not posting. I don't know what's been going on with that. I've had some issues getting.
Yeah, we'll get it there. Keep going, big man. Let me shoot out a link. I'll get it out there, and then we'll tweet it out ourselves here for you. Go ahead.
Wanted to welcome in everyone here listening. As always, last week we had a great show. It was one of our favorites, I think, Donnie. We can agree on one of our favorite shows we've ever done here. Just a great flow, a lot of good conversation, and a lot of good baseball picks. So looking forward to yet another show. Welcome in everyone out there. Kyle Honeysett, Vitalis, Cynthia Peters, Kyle Emsa, Johans Peterson, Syracuse is in the house, Donnie. The Mighty Orange is in here. Matthew, Eson, Skooma Steve, Sean Childers, John Ryan, Corey Hadland. Welcome, everyone. We are appreciative to have you in here.
That link's out there for you, Jeff. Check on that, retweet it. We'll be able to go. We'll start skyrocketing here in that live chat in a second here.
Very good, very good. Looking forward to getting everyone in here. So, as always, Donnie, plenty to do on the baseball card. Not much going on elsewhere. I see on the TV this morning. I don't know if, Donnie, if you've watched any of that, the basketball tournament. Have you watched any of that?
I have not. No, I'm not a big fan of the Big Three or the TBT.
Yeah, I actually have seen a couple familiar names, Donnie. Aaron Kraft, if you want to relive his basketball memories, you can watch on ESPN right now in the background. You can watch that. Aaron Kraft on the Scarlet and White team, Donnie.
About that? Yeah, no. Is there any lines on the TBT? I know you said you have been betting on the free tournament.
I have not bet on the TBT tournament. I've just been watching it. But, yes, there are lines at some books out there for sure. You definitely want to check those out. But shout out to our sponsor, Donnie, the great folks at betonline.ag, one of the best books in the business. If you're in the market for a new book or want to add books, as always, just because you want to have a multitude of different books, check out betonline.ag, one of the best sports books in the business. Great bonus structure, great payout options, great everything, really. At betonline.ag. Can't wait for the final table tonight. I agree, Kai. I watched it feverishly last night. Very, very, very fun to watch. I will say this: a lot of nitty players at the final table. And again, I get your nurse and short stacks, but when you have 10 big blinds and you get king, queen, you should be put. I mean, it was just kind of a lot of. Donnie, the final table at the World Series of Poker, not always a poker seminar exactly. I
was actually watching a little bit last night, mainly because of the comments that you were putting out. So I just slipped it on there. I saw one guy, in the Uncle Floyd jacket out there with the hat, sort of hamming it up. I don't understand poker as well, obviously, as you do there, but it's not a good overall table. No Negreanu's out there or Phil Hellmuth.
No. There's a guy, Saud. He was knocked out, I think, 5th. He got 27th a couple years ago, and he made the final table this year. He's had a pretty good run at the World Series. But the guy Hesp with the interesting jacket, he was knocked out last night. He has never cashed in the World Series before. He's like a 64-year-old, regular amateur player, and he just made a crazy run. But the kid Bloomstein, Donnie, went to Temple, the chip leader.
New Jersey guy, right?
Yeah, he's from the Philly area. And dude, I got to tell you, I've never seen a kid get luckier at a table than him last night. I mean, the kid, every fucking time he had a hand, either the other player made his hand or he hit some crazy out-of-hand river or something. Just amazing. But we'll see if he can continue. 3 left. First prize, I believe, is $9 million. So nice little score there. Yeah, Ben Lamb was the only. Yeah, he got knocked out first. So other than that, it's just a bunch of newbies. But Donnie, a big baseball card, 15 games today. Let's jump into it.
Let's do it, man. And again, we don't have any restrictions here on time. A lot of the times we like to force some plays a little bit earlier when the Yankees would be playing at 12:30 or a staggered game at 1:30. The earliest games today, there are only 2 of them at 4:05, which I'm not a big fan of. I like when Major League Baseball rolls out a nice, even Saturday card. Give me a couple noon games, a couple 2 o'clocks, maybe a couple night games there, man.
Donnie likes to get his money in all day.
Yeah, I mean, I like to pass on as many games as I can throughout the day. So this is kind of angering me, right? You know what I mean?
He talks about how many games he'll actually bet, and then
here, I'll type it out. I'm going to type in the chat box right now. Passing on 4 p.m. games.
We could always bet you could always bet the WNBA All-Star game at 3 o'clock.
Oh, actually, that's a good point. You brought that up. I was asking yesterday if the league was still going on. So is it the midway point in the WNBA, I guess?
Yes, I believe it. I believe the midway point, which I didn't even know it was still going on. I know it starts in the summer, but I really didn't. I really don't follow it too much. By the way, guys, we'll give away a couple trips today as well. From what I understand, the powers that be at SBR are looking to give away some more trips, Donnie. How about that? Big development down at SBR. What we need to do, we need 100 likes again. I know we're getting people in here feverishly. 100 likes. We're going to pick, Donnie, 6 people that want to come down. So, listen, here's what I want everyone to do. If you have some interest, you want to come down to the IFBC, I want to keep in mind and let everyone know. It is a free trip, okay? You get down there. SBR will pay for your hotel. They'll give you a nice room at the Sheraton Hotel in Escazú. They'll give you a transportation to and from the airport. All you have to do is get your flight. Now, what SBR is going to do, they're going to hand you $750 towards your flight. I know, Donnie, I was looking into flights when I was obviously considering it at better points to come down. I was looking at flights, and I know from Harrisburg to Costa Rica, it was like $730 round trip. So there's a lot of you might have to spend $50, $100, but you basically think about it. You're going to get down to Costa Rica. You're going to meet a whole lot of cool people. You're going to meet all the big wigs at SBR for a couple $100. So again, SBR is really taking care of you here. Again, this is something that no one's doing in this business. So if you're out there, you want to come down, let us know, and we'll try to get you down there. So let us know, gauge some interest here. Only comment though if you actually want to come. If you don't have a passport now, or you don't know if you can get off work. Let's jump into the action, though, Donnie. Get those likes.
No, I like to get a good point on that, because the one thing that's interesting here, we all been through the struggle. You know, bills are tight, credit card. The great thing about this event is you put the flight, obviously, on your credit card. You go down to Costa Rica, and you get straight cash homie for a $750 credit right in your hand, cash, by an SBR worker down there. So that's fantastic. And we all know the struggle where if you said, going through college, or, maybe had some bills to pay, you look at that cash advance on the credit card, and what they hit you up with, Jeff, 20, 25, 30% vig on that, you're actually getting a free cash advance here from SBR. Put it on your credit card, get the cash when you get down there. Let's have some fun. I'll give you some plays. It's an open sports book down there, legalized sports gambling. Maybe you could turn a profit on this weekend as well. A lot of fun to be had, right?
Yeah, and you can go up to any person and be like, hey, what do you think of this game today? I'm sure Donnie will answer all your questions.
Exactly. I mean, there's how many times, Jeff, we're going to be in Costa Rica. Donnie, what do you think about the Indians game? And I'm going to say, you know what? I'd passed on it.
I believe it's U.S. dollars, by the way. They're not going to give you colones to take back to the U.S. I mean, what sense would that make? Let's jump in, Donnie, to the card.
Yep. All right. We're going to start off here. Let me just get a couple things straight here up on my
Yeah, John Ryan, I'm not going. I don't know if you've heard that. I unfortunately had some extenuating circumstances. I can't be there. But Donnie Rightside will be there.
I'll be holding it down for the Northeast there. No question about it. By the way, John Ryan, did he already win a package, Jeff? Is that correct?
I don't believe he has. John, are you interested in coming to Costa Rica? Let us know. Please let us know.
Call in the chat line here.
Yeah, I do think SBR, maybe Cynthia can let us know. Does the bet box take U.S. dollars? There we go. Yes.
Yes, I believe it does. So I think somebody answered that question the other day, Jeff. I believe the casino itself and the hotel takes U.S. dollars, but they also have an exchange in the hotel as well. So you get the best of both worlds there.
Yeah, and again, we're not going to go into why I can't go. You want to know why? Listen to yesterday's show. We've talked about this time and time again, and surprisingly, there's one name in here that doesn't know where we're going. I'm not going to explain it again, Bob. if your name is really Bob, because we have a feeling it's not. But Bob, go ahead and listen to yesterday's show. It could be properly explained to you there. Armin's got his tickets booked. Awesome.
Yes.
Very cool.
Oh, man.
Very cool. John Ryan, you're in. If you want to go, John, you're in. If you can go, you're in.
We're trying to stack the deck with as many Eagles fans as possible. So if you're leaning towards that situation, that's what it's going to go down as. But yes, everybody, welcome into the chat box there. We are going to give away some trips during the show. So hopefully if you can go, we might be able to pick you out.
Get John in there, Don.
Yeah, definitely get him. I'll make sure there. John, hit me up on Twitter and we'll get you through with the appropriate people. I know Cynthia's out here. She has a lot of pull down there as well. So we'll get it taken care of. Let's get to the baseball card here for us, Jeff. It's what everybody came in for. See if we can pick out some winners, maybe give some information here. 9:51, 9:52, St. Louis and Chicago. Jeff, interesting game yesterday in Wrigley. A nice, tidy 3-2 game heading into the 8th. All hell broke loose. St. Louis comes up with a big underdog winner and also the over covering. About 3,200 tickets tracked on this early game starting at 4 o'clock. 52% here, Jeff, coming in and siding with the St. Louis Cardinals. If we take a look across the board, Bet Online sitting at -151. Over under looks like across the board also, Jeff, at 8.5. Particulars in this game, Wainwright on the road. 9 starts, Jeff, 7.68 ERA. Last 3 starts, he's been okay. 4.67 ERA. Taking a look home at John Lester. He's been really good at home. 11 home starts at Wrigley. We all know the wind usually is blowing out there. It's a tough ballpark to pitch in. 3.73 ERA. But lately, Jeff, an ERA over 7 here. Do we see more runs here today?
I'm not sure if we will or not, but one thing I'm not looking to is to bet on this game. You look at Wainwright. He has really struggled on the road. We talked about that time and time again with this guy. An ERA just south of 8 in 9 road starts. But I have trouble backing John Lester and this Cubs offense against right-handed pitching, Donnie Wright said. This team's only hitting .236 against righties. Look, they had won 6 in a row, lost yesterday. I don't know that I trust the Cubs bullpen, to be really honest with you. I hate to be right out of the gate like yesterday, but I'm not really keen on laying 155 with John Lester. Just not something I'm looking to do, especially with a team that can't hit righties like the Cubs. To me, this is a pass right out of the gate at 405. I think this is at 405. I have no interest in this one. He is, again, you might be right there, Dog Raymond. He did not pitch well in his last game. Maybe that lights a fire under him here. But I'm not laying 155 with a team that can't hit right-handed pitching. They may hit Waino. Gun to my head, I'd take the Cubs, but I'm not crazy about laying this kind of number here.
Yeah, another one of those things, a couple stigmas I have with pitchers, Jeff. We talk about it time and time again. Every 5th day that John Lester comes up, it's very rare I'm on a John Lester start just because I honestly can't get a feel on the guy. Do you have some pitchers out there, Jeff, that you just look at some days, you say, you know what, this could be good or bad? Because last night, as a team itself, I cashed in on a nice dog play on the Pittsburgh Pirates at Colorado. Normally, that team is my Achilles heel, playing very well now. But John Lester's one of the pitchers, Jeff, I just can't get a feel on.
Well, no, you can't. And this is not the best time to get a feel on him. I mean, he's coming off of a bad outing. Who knows where the hell he is with it. And, we've talked about it. He can't throw to first base. I mean, I hate backing pitchers that just – they're vulnerable. He's a vulnerable guy. Same with Wainwright, though. I would think there'd be some runs in this game, but I can't get involved with this one. Sorry.
Yeah, another key. You're looking at an MVP type candidate, each and every year. Chris Bryant, he's going to be out possibly even for the rest of the weekend. That's a key cog because, Jeff, we talked about a lot of times, Chicago Cubs just aren't hitting the baseball, just aren't coming around. If you're asking me if the one guy in that lineup I can't lose, that's Chris Bryant.
Oh, yeah. And again, I've said it about 4 times in this breakdown. They cannot hit right-handed pitching. They're not good against righties. So, again, you can take the Cubs here, but when you're sitting there in the 6th inning and they have 4 hits and 1 run, I don't want to be the guy to yank your chain there. Again, I'm not interested here overall, but good luck if you like this one.
Yep. Next, keep it moving here, Jeff. Another 4 o'clock start here. Going to be on the West Coast, so an early one out there, 105. Perdomo and Moore on the mound, 56% are backing the road team here with the all of a sudden explosive San Diego Padres offense. Over-under open up at 8.5. Currently sitting at 8.5 across the board. Actually a decent favorite for Matt Moore here, the lefty on the mound, a -142. Chris opened up at, has dropped that down to -135. Our good friends at Bet Online right in that ballpark as well with a -130 plus 120 split. Perdomo on the road through 7 road starts, Jeff. 5.09 ERA. He hasn't fared too well even in his last 3 games, hovering around a 7 ERA. Moore has been okay at home, 2-6 overall through 9 starts, but a 4.20 ERA. Last 3 starts, 4.50 ERA. You pretty much get what you get out of Matt Moore. He's going to give up some runs there. The one thing is, do you trust San Diego again to continue their winning on the road? But keep in mind, San Diego's playing San Francisco. This isn't San Francisco the past years. That's a very good baseball team. They're really struggling pitching in all facets. They actually got some hits last night. Didn't matter. San Diego out-hit them. So an interesting one today, lining up on the mound. 74% of the money coming in on the road Padres. Can they keep that streak going today?
Yeah, I took them last night in this game. And look, it's funny. I actually, Donnie, listen quite frequently to radio broadcasts. And I'm not a big fan of Ted Leitner, the Padres play-by-play guy. He also has San Diego State Athletics, and he's just kind of irritating. But he made a comment last night that I thought was kind of funny. Bruce Bochy, I guess, saw him before the game on the field, and Bruce Bochy walks up to him and goes, you again? Oh, no, or something like that. And it just goes to show you how bad this team really kind of thinks of themselves. They really don't have any confidence facing anyone. They've lost 8 of 11 this year to San Diego, and this San Diego team's starting to hit the baseball, Donnie. Last 2 nights, San Francisco's laid big numbers. They're laying another number today, and I'm not really sure why. This team doesn't ever give you any confidence. I know they came back last night and tied that game late, which could have been a death wish if you had the Padres, but they're 37-61, Donnie. I mean, how do you get involved with them right now? And the Padres are murdering the ball. 312 over the last 7 days. Matt Moore's 5-14 when Matt Moore starts, and lefties are hitting 386 against Matt Moore. Not a ton of lefties in this lineup, but it's hard to bet San Francisco ever, and I'm definitely not looking to bet on them with Matt Moore. To me, I would lean the San Diego Padres yet again in this game.
Yeah, no, I mean, I can't disagree with you because San Francisco's not really a bounce-back team. It's hard to believe that the Padres playing well and playing on the road in the division, which is an oddity based on their side. But if you look at their overall lineup, Jeff, a lot of young guys in there, buoyed by Will Myers, who's starting to heat up again, which is nice. But a lot of young players, the Margaux, the Pirellas, Jabari Blash coming on, have a decent hitting catcher with Hedges. So we'll see what they have the rest of the season. Again, we talked about it yesterday, Jeff. It'd be nice to see them put some money behind that team and maybe make a run at a few things. But again, it's San Diego, and they're getting priced at a decent number today. Over under 8.5. Technically, if you lined up both of these teams in that ballpark, you would think they would trend to the under, but both these teams swinging a good bets. We'll see what happens here. Let's keep it moving, Jeff. We're going to head to the city. Yes, go ahead, man.
One thing that does concern me about San Diego, they had their most hits last night in a game all year. That's concerning to me. I mean, 20 hits last night for San Diego. A team like them, they'll usually just put up 4 hits today and just not do anything. They could have scored 17 runs last night if they scored 12 men left on base. That is a concerning point of this game, but you got to ride the hot team, don't you?
Yeah, exactly. Early day game as well. We'll see how that plays into it. Suter and Hellickson on the mound, Jeff. Rotation 955, 956 in Philadelphia. 70% of the tickets currently coming in on the road team, the Milwaukee Brewers, with Suter. Line opened up as a slight favorite to Milwaukee, Jeff, at about -115. Has since ballooned up to -132 at Chris. Bet online hovering around -129. So money coming in the right direction on that, despite only 30% of the tickets coming in on the Philadelphia Phillies. Over-under opened up at 9.5. Currently sits 9.5 across the board if you take a look at some interesting stats here for Suter. Last 3 starts, Jeff, he's been really good. 2.12. Doesn't go all that deep in the games, but certainly being effective here. Hellickson, 4.59 home starts, 4.67 over his last 3 starts. I know he was roughed up, came in hot in the season, win-loss. Hit a rough patch, but starting to turn around a little bit here lately. Wake up the Phillies, 3rd straight win. Aaron Nola was sensational again yesterday. Seems to be a running line over the past 5 to 6 starts for Nola. Looks like the pitcher everybody expected him to be. A little bit different situation here. Hellickson, again, one of those guys making big money, $17 million on the year. Phillies are hoping that he gets hot so they can move him by the trade deadline to pick up some prospects. That good-looking hitting lineup for Milwaukee heading to Philadelphia. Another interesting thing that came across the wire today, Jeff, on Twitter, Ian Kinsler, a possible target for the Brewers. Very interesting there.
Yeah, good hitting second baseman. Always a very solid player. This is an interesting game. I talked about it last night on the late night on campus. I mean, we talked about it on the right side of campus. The Brewers need to win this series, I think. I think this is a big game and a big series for them. They didn't get the job done last night. they have to win today. I think, again, you don't look at July games and say it's a must-win, but they got to right the ship here in this series. You look at the fact that during this 6-game losing streak, they only scored 2.1 runs a game. They strike out the most in baseball, 9.72 strikeouts per game. That's by a pretty wide margin. But you look at Suter. I mean, he's pitched really well in 4 games, an ERA under 3, a low whip. All 4 of his starts have gone under the posted total. I think a collection of two teams that aren't the best offensive teams. Philly struggle against left-handed pitching. I like the under here at 9.5. I think it's a little too high. I'm 12 of 15 games have gone under for the Milwaukee Brewers. 11 of 15 Hellickson starts have gone under. And I mentioned Suter's success with the under. I don't think we see a ton of runs in this game. I think Hellickson will be pretty good. I think this is like a 5-2 at most, 4-3 type of game. I think 9.5 is just a little too high for this one. I would go under 9.5 here.
Yeah, heat is on in Philadelphia, so we will see what happens. Phillies can throw some right. I mean, the good part about the Phillies, they do have an even stack of players. It's just a matter of which players actually want to hit. Nick Williams has been really good coming up from the minor league system. We'll see if that carries over. Daniel Nava out of nowhere, I like the moniker at Ty Cobb Jr. out there, it seems, half the time. So we'll see what happens in that Philadelphia game. But I'm not really a big Hellickson backer. It almost seems to me, Jeff, and you probably would agree, when Nola's on the mound, that is a backable pitcher that's going to give you 5, 6, 7 innings of good baseball. Anybody else on that Phillies pitching staff, it's up in the air for me.
One thing I will say about Hellickson, though, he is pretty average. I mean, he's not bad. I mean, he's not going to
his blow-up ability is – you're right about that. You look for what, maybe 6 innings, 3 earned runs as a quality start. I agree.
Yeah, I mean, give up 4 runs. And, I mean, I don't hate Hellickson. Kyle Honey said, possibly the tweet of the day, The Wire. I heard that is a good show. Fucking best show ever, dude. What do you mean it's a good show? It's the best show ever. Do yourself a favor. Take a week out of your life. Sit down and watch every episode. It's absolutely fantastic entertainment. I actually think, Donnie, it's a pretty good day. We got baseball, poker, and power tonight at midnight. So also we have I'll be watching the USA against mighty Costa Rica, Donnie. The U.S. against Costa Rica tonight in the Gold Cup. I'll be looking forward to that as well.
So anybody move up the IFBC to get in on that round? We could all went there and watch it live.
And we have an interesting point here. I'll give you 5-team, 100% guaranteed parlay. Harper's Island, you have some odd comments on here, I got to say.
I'm in on that. How much? $19.99? What are we paying for that?
Yes. 19. I wouldn't pay. If you gave me $19.99, I wouldn't pay for that. But, hey, good luck, man. I hope you win. Donnie, where are we going next?
Let's go next, Jeff. I know you do a lot of research on some of these young pitchers coming up here in Major League Baseball, getting some first and second starts. Let's hit this game. I know you got some good stuff on it. 9:57, 9:58. O'Grady and Stevenson on the mound, Jeff. Pretty even split here ticket-wise, Jeff. 51 to 49%. Over under at 11. Slight favorite here. Look, actually looks like a pick'em. So you have a 50-50 ticket split and basically a pick'em on the game juice-wise. But it looks like Vegas is expecting some runs to be scored here, Jeff. Through his first couple starts, O'Grady, not great, not awful. I mean, his ERA is sitting at about 5.23, but some average starts there, giving up, going a few innings, giving up a couple earned runs. Nothing too bad, but nothing too great. And then we get a first start here from Stevenson. I know you have a couple things from this, Jeff, so dig into this game. Let the listeners know what they might be looking at with these two young pitchers in a hitting environment.
Yeah, Cincinnati saw 7 of 8, Donnie. Just want to make that well aware. In those 7 losses, 8.4 runs a game, 295 to the opponent. So, I mean, their pitching has just been terrible. The question about Stevenson in this game is, can he not walk people at the major league level? You look at in the minors, last 22 innings, just 1 walk. His control has really been better. The big question is, can that translate against a major league lineup that is pretty good? I mean, the Marlins have a pretty good lineup. I'm not willing to bet on something like that. So for me, Cincinnati's definitely not someone I'm looking at here. O'Grady, though, has minimized damage, Donnie. You look at in his 2 starts, he's actually been fairly good. He gave up 3 runs in both. He wasn't particularly bad, didn't lose them the game early on. I think at this price, I think the Marlins are a pretty good play just from the sole reason that I don't want to bet on Cincinnati right now, and I definitely don't want to wonder if Stevenson will get it figured out today. I think this is a pretty good number here on the Marlins. I don't trust Stevenson at all.
Yeah, interesting one. I mean, to me, again, Jeff, you know me, I'm not big on taking pitchers I don't have much of a background to major league level on. The one thing I do agree upon is, do you have an idea, Jeff? I know the over-under is 11. If you, anytime you have these two lineups against young pitchers, those bullpens, so to speak, you would lean towards taking the over as you would the under. Great hitting ballpark. It's probably going to be hot again in Cincinnati. Last night, kind of an anomaly, to 3-1 game, but I think maybe more runs would be scored tonight, obviously, than last night in that one.
Yeah, but the problem I have with taking the over here, both these lineups are struggling right now. Cincinnati can't hit their way out of a paper bag, and neither can Miami. I mean, both these teams are having some issues right now hitting the baseball. You look at last night, I mean, Homer Bailey was pretty good. Urania was pretty good. 11 is a high number, Donnie. And with a team like Cincinnati, it wouldn't surprise me to see them score 3 or 4 runs in this game, and that's about it. I'm not looking at a total here. To me, I think there's some value here on Miami. I don't trust Stevenson at all.
No, agree there. Agree. Let's keep it moving. We'll go up to Coors, Jeff. A pinball machine once again at Coors, which pretty much looks like it's going to be again tonight. Chad Kuhl in the mound versus German Marquez. 42% back in the road team here with Chad Kuhl. Over under, Jeff, opened up at 12. Don't be surprised if that might even get to 12.5 today. Looks like there's some half juice out there on some of these games. 58% of the tickets backing the home team. Colorado Rockies opened up at -134. A little bit backspinning here, Jeff, to -124 at Chris. At BetOnline, you have -126. Some particulars on this game. Kuhl's turned it around. I mean, he was one of those pitchers early on, Jeff, when I was betting Pittsburgh Pirates over. I was keying in on him because he wasn't too good through that April and May stretch. But his last 3 starts, a 2.87 ERA. Not a bad road ERA, 3.69, albeit he is heading to Coors Field. German Marquez, 4.57 ERA through 7 starts, 4.19 in his last 3 starts. Both of these teams, I like the way Pittsburgh looks now with Starling Marte leading the game off. Polanco, I did see yesterday, running down, beating out a bases-loaded infield sacrifice. Somebody scored on that play, but he ran the first base, had to come out for a hamstring. We'll see if Polanco's in the starting lineup here, but a nice hitting lineup for Colorado out there. 2 pitchers one would think you possibly could get to, and good luck if you're betting unders at Coors, Jeff.
Yeah, I took the over last night, and it was pretty easy. I mean, Pittsburgh has been murdering the ball lately. They're really playing well. They've won over they've actually won 12 of 17, Donnie, won 6 in a row. They're hitting 307 over the last week, and their pitching's been pretty good. Opponents only scoring about 3 runs a game against this group over those last 7 games. Donnie, though, we have to talk about Colorado, and I know last night weren't great at home scoring runs, but you look at in the last 7 games, 7-0 to the over. You look at during those 7 games, 54 runs, 70 hits. I mean, this team is just really touching the ball up right now. And Kuhl, while he's pitched well, I'm not sure that he'll pitch well today. He's never pitched in Coors. He's on the road, obviously. A lineup that's just been murdering the ball. I think if you like Pittsburgh, one saving grace is they have won 14 of 18 against Colorado, but I do trust Marquez a little bit more in this spot. I do trust Colorado's bats to always hit at home. I would lean with Colorado in this game. It won't be on my card, but I do kind of like Colorado in this spot. I think Pittsburgh will be a public bet today just with the way they've been playing and everything. But if you really peel back the numbers, this Colorado team's won 4 or 5, and in those 5 games, they've murdered the ball.
Yeah, we'll see how that one ends up there. But I just like the vibe of Pittsburgh, the way they're playing out of the break, steaming ahead. Now a game above 500 and making a climb in that division that seems like nobody wants it. Typically, a team that's right around 500 might be 10 games back in that division, right in the thick of it. We'll see how it continues tonight. Next up on the docket here, Jeff, another young baseball pitcher going to get a look tonight. Washington and Arizona, Roark versus Banda. 62% of the public filtering in here on the Washington Nationals with Roark. Over under opened up at 10.5. Looks like right now some of the numbers coming back. Seems to be a pick'em game between the veteran Roark versus the youngster Banda. If we take a look at some particulars in this ball game, if you watched last night, I don't know what the odds would have been, or I don't even know if you would possibly. I know with 5 Dimes you can make up your own wagers on one of their creators, that where you could have punched up a prop bet that said the first 3 guys on Arizona leading off the game would hit home runs off Max Scherzer and touch him up right away. An amazing start to that ball game tonight. Roark on the mound, 4.59 ERA, 5.40 over his last 3 starts. Roark is the one guy, Jeff, outside of Ross, even though he's done for the year, I always look to fade or maybe be a possible betting spot against the Washington Nationals. Your thoughts on this game with the youngster coming up and a light line in this one as well, Jeff?
Donnie, we've talked about the Nationals. They're gasping problems in the back end of their bullpen. We've talked about that. But I think a lot of it we haven't talked about is their lineup. They have 3 guys in that lineup that you trust. Murphy, Harper. I guess you trust Zimmerman, but I don't know that long term I expect him to keep doing what he's done. And yeah, I guess Rendon. But other than that, this lineup sucks. I mean, they're the top of their lineup's terrible. Brian Goodwin has no business in the major leagues at all.
Defoe.
Yeah, Wilmer Defoe. I mean, Steven Drew. I mean, just a direct.
He's in there every once in a while. Yeah, you're right about that. They do have some weak links now because when they started the season, we lauded them for the center fielder that went down and then Trey Turner goes down. Imagine if both of those players are still in that lineup.
Right, and if we can remember back that I told you all that would be a loss for this team. I knew it would be. I'll admit they weren't bad last night offensively, but they're just never on the same page, like bullpen-wise. They score runs, but their pitching's not good. I mean, last night, I don't fault Max Scherzer is going to have a bad game once in a while. It is what it is. But you get the lead, you tie the game, actually, it's 5-5, and then your new bullpen can't come in and get the job done. And why is Endy Rodriguez closing their games? Why is Sean Doolittle not in the game? I mean, I don't know what the thinking pattern is there. Dusty Baker, again, over-managing games. And they're a team that I think is a fraud going forward. I don't think they're going to win anything. They'll win this division just because the rest of it sucks. But at the end of the day, they have a lot of holes. And if their big bats aren't hitting, they're not going to do much of anything. But in this game, Donnie, can Roark build off of his last outing, his first good outing in a long time? They sent him into the bullpen. It kind of fixed him a little bit. You look at Banda, Donnie, a Corpus Christi, Texas native, a 10th round pick in 2012. He has not been good, Donnie, in Reno. 5.18 ERA. If you read the quotes coming out of Arizona, they're not that confident in him. I think they just, at this point, they have a little bit to play around with. They obviously need him to come up. This is kind of an experimental start, if you ask me. I don't know that they're expecting him to do too much in this game. Again, a lot of bullpen arms last night. I like the over in this game. Roark is going to – I mean, you look at last game, Donnie. He didn't give up any earned runs, Roark, but, there were still runs being scored. It seems like when he starts, they score a lot of runs. 7 straight overs in Arizona between these two teams. 14 of 18 overall have went over. And Banda, Donnie, is coming off the worst start of his career in the minors. Gave up 15 hits and 7 runs in that game. I don't think Banda will be successful in this game at all. I would look over in this game.
Interesting, because he is – I mean, I know that Arizona lineup, that looks good. Now, we'll see if J.D. Martinez returns back to the lineup tonight. But A.J. Pollock's been a boost out there. And go ahead, man.
Even without him, I mean, this is a really good lineup. I just think he adds in a really nice power angle to that group. But overall, they are really a good lineup. You mentioned Pollock. He kind of is a game changer for that group. 45 likes, guys. Let's get the likes going. Again, if we get 100 likes, we'll give away 5 more trips.
Yep, John Ryan's already in the door. Let's see if we can pick up a couple more. We got some time left there. Get those likes up, get those viewers up, and we'll see if we can send somebody down and rub some elbows with us down there at the IFBC.
Yeah, let us know. Let us know you want to come. We'll make it happen for you. Just get those likes up. We got 103 people in here and only 45 likes. That means we now have 48 likes. So that means, 50-plus people have not liked the show that are in here watching it. So give us a like and let us know.
Absolutely. Next up on the docket, Jeff. Break up the Atlanta Braves. We talk about it all the time. Professional hitting lineup all the way through, making some noise out there, cashing big dogs out on the West Coast. This line today is an amazing line to me. Let's get into some of the numbers here. 963, 964. It's going to be Teheran and the lefty Hill on the mound. Only 31% of the tickets coming in on the Atlanta Braves. 69%, obviously, of the tickets coming in on the Dodgers. Jeff, this opened up with Teheran on the mound at minus 234 in the favor of Rich Hill. It's actually bumped up to Chris at 248. Bet online, Jeff, showing a minus 255. Over under across the board. Looks like you're going to get some 8s at Triple Juice, but mostly 8.5. For the life of me, that is an astounding line considering how well Atlanta's playing. And you don't have chopped liver on the mound, especially away from home. Say what you want about Teheran at home and SunTrust. Away, he's been really good, Jeff. 9 starts, a 2.53 ERA. Even over his last 3 starts, a 1.86. Looking at Rich Hill, yes, he's had a decent year. Been very good in his last 3 with under a 1 ERA. But his total numbers on the season, 13 starts, 3.55 ERA. That's an astounding number, a minus 255 in this game today. I guess everybody's saying there's no way the Dodgers lose 3 straight. Interesting, man.
Yeah, I mean, the line is very high, but we have to point out Rich Hill has been absolutely marvelous lately. I mean, he has been really good. 30 strikeouts over his last 3 games. He's really kind of found himself here. 2 earned runs over his last 19 outings, a .63 ERA. So not only is Rich Hill not giving up runs, he's not even putting people on base. He's been extremely effective. And if he can bridge to that bullpen tonight, I think the Braves will struggle to score runs. You look at the last 2 games, 18 runs for the Braves. I'm going to go ahead and think that's not going to continue tonight. Rich Hill, like I said, absolutely marvelous. And Teheran, Donnie, on the road has been just as marvelous. This guy has been fantastic. A 2.53 ERA and 9 road starts. He's not lost a road game this year, and his ERA is 5th in the National League among road pitchers. He's been really good as well. You also look behind the plate, Donnie. Ron Kulpa is the ump. 11 of his 17 ump games have gone under this year. I think we see a low-scoring game here after 2 high-scoring ones. I think under 8.5 is the play. This game is very much about starting pitching. If these pitchers don't pitch well, this game will probably go over. But if we can get solid outings for both these groups, I think we see a pretty low-scoring game here. And the under ump behind the plate helps as well. I'll go under 8.5 here in Hill Teheran.
I mean, I would agree. If you're just into line reading, Jeff, you know, one of those things that says, how the hell are the Dodgers minus 250? Well, then that's where you got to start scratching your head and try to delve into why that exactly is the case, because Vegas isn't going to over error on a line by 50, 60, 70 cents, you know, just because they feel like doing it. So something is to that line there, where whatever Vegas is cooking up in their big pot of stew obviously is liking the Dodgers a lot, and the public is reacting to it. A lot of times you'll see, Jeff, you know, 32% of the wagers coming in on Atlanta, but you might see, 50, 60, 70% of the money actually on the Atlanta Braves, because it's such a long shot ticket, the same way you would look at like Mayweather and McGregor. More people are betting McGregor because it's a long shot lottery type ticket. That one's an interesting one. The public coming in siding with a heavy favorite and that line moving accordingly. Looks to be a Dodgers line here to me, Jeff.
Yeah, and plus, I mean, we also have to remember, I mean, you look at last night, I think it was almost kind of and that's what kind of sucked about that game last night. If you look in here from what people were saying about that line, I mean, it was going in parlays. It was going everywhere. I think I saw a tweet from Cornegie at Westgate, I think he said he had 18 total bets on the Atlanta Braves last night or something like that. It's just amazing, amazing stuff. I don't. Again, I think a lot of people look at this and maybe skip it or not bet on Rich Hill. But when you really look at Rich Hill's numbers, he has been really, really good. I would think this one will go under. I think under's the play.
No, I mean, I think that's a very good point
because,
on that one.
Donnie,
Something's got to slow it down. Yeah,
and you have to think about this. Instead of laying 260 with Rich Hill, because let's be real, you're banking on Rich Hill pitching well here, aren't you?
Yes.
I mean, that's how you're going to win this game. Why not just take the under then? Because it's pretty much a foregone conclusion Teheran will pitch well here, or pitch well enough. I like under here.
Yeah. Next up on the docket, Jeff, the Houston Astros and the Baltimore Orioles. Last night I took a long shot effort there on Ubaldo Jimenez. My fire was put out quickly, but little did I know, watching from the corner of my eye, they come all the way back and get it within 1 run in the 9th inning. Then with 1 out, Chris Davis is trying to bunt for God knows what reason. And then they end up losing the game. Trumbo strikes out. You know me, Jeff. I love the bunt in sacrifice type situations. When your power hitter down 1 run in the 9th inning is bunting, that's not really good luck. I don't care what the shift was. And Chris Davis, what are you going to do? Bunt and Chris Davis is going to score on a single and steal second base? I mean, come on, Chris. what are we doing here? But that's besides the point. I did take a loss on that. I had 4 dogs last night, ended up splitting them, going 2-2. That was one of my losers. Shame on me for trying to read a line and bet with Ubaldo Jimenez. He was terrible right up from the gate. But today, Jeff, McHugh's back on the mound here after a long stint on the DL versus Tillman. 66% of the wagers coming in on Houston. You can't really fault him. I know how hot the Baltimore Orioles have been, but we all know the power that Houston can supply. Opened up as a -129, backtracked a little bit into that lower -120s. Even Bet Online, Jeff, showing a little bit below that at -117. Over under in this game opened up at 10.5. Very quickly bet to 11. Even some 11.5s are showing up. Tillman at home, he's been terrible. 8 starts at home, 1-3 with a 5.22 ERA, 4.11 over his last 3 starts. Colin McHugh coming back up here after a stint with a couple rehab starts in minor league baseball. Always interesting to see what you're going to get once these guys do return to the major leagues. Jeff, I know you've been a big proponent of the Astros all season long. Your thoughts on this game?
Yeah, I will get into it in one moment. I just want to touch on one thing. Guys, we have to, you guys, again, this is a lot of it is about teaching and kind of maybe throwing in something that maybe you haven't heard. Mike Keep is saying, does it matter that the Dodgers crushed Tehran? We have to pull back the onion and point out that no one on the Dodgers other than Chase Utley has seen Tehran more than 10 times. And the only one that has is Justin Turner at 182. We need to pull back the onion. And just because the guy's hitting 400, it's only been in 10 at-bats. Very limited at-bats against Tehran. We have to point that out. Sometimes people just see, an ERA or something and say, well, they're going to crush him because they've seen him a lot. A lot of that is kind of supplanted because they have high averages in limited at-bats. No one really sticks out here, Donnie. I mean, all these guys, I wouldn't say they crushed Tehran. I just wanted to point that out. Don't take that and maybe go in and actually look at every at-batter and see kind of how they are against him just one-on-one. That's something you have to look at. But, yeah, as far as the Astros, 2017 debut, Donnie, for our friend Colin McHugh. It's been a long time since we've seen him against anyone. And this is going to be a tough outing for him. He's coming in against a very hot offensive club. Last 4 games for the Orioles, 38 runs combined. They've really been touching the ball up. And Houston's not been any different, Donnie. On the road, 7.2 runs a game this year, hitting 301. They're 27-12 to the over overall. And, Donnie, you would think Colin McHugh won't pitch well tonight, right? It's hard to think he would, right?
Well, think he will pitch well or won't pitch well?
He will not pitch well.
I don't know if he's going to not pitch well, but I don't see it being a long outing. So I would agree with your sentiments there.
So he's not going to go deep. And again, the middle relief for the Houston Astros is not very good. We look at, though, at Tillman. In 12 games this year, Chris Tillman, a 7.2 ERA. I got to tell you, the Astros really lucked out in this series. They got Ubaldo last night. They get Tillman tonight. I'm still blown away, Donnie, at Tillman's numbers. 12 games and a whip over 2. Opponents are hitting 342 against Chris Tillman. He's only had 3 quality starts all year. He only got in his last game, he got a quality start. That was his first quality start since June 4th. This guy has really had issues. I like the over in this game. I think this is a high-scoring game like last night. I think it's a 7-6, 8-5 type of game, something like that. I think both these pitchers will get touched up.
No, I mean, it's going to be an interesting one. The under certainly doesn't look good. I'm not looking in a nice warm afternoon in a hitter's ballpark down there with 2 elite lineups. So I would agree with you there. 120 people currently watching the show live now. Thank you to that. 67 likes, 1 dislike. We're giving away more packages, Jeff. If somebody wants to show their face in that chat box and say, that was me with the dislike button, why don't we just give them a package? We'll send them down to
Here's what I'll do.
Costa Rica.
If you prove you dislike the show, you're that one guy. If you tweet me the screenshot, and I know most of you know how to do that, I will not only give you a trip, but I'll give you $20 cash, no questions asked.
$20 cash for the bet box down there, Jeff.
Yes, you put it on anything you want. The 2 people. Well, they're just trying to be funny. But, hey, 69 likes, great number. Yeah, I don't know what there is to dislike, Michael. Again, just, it's the internet. What are you going to do?
Maybe he could reach out. The squeaky wheel gets the grease there, so maybe he can win a trip down there. He can say his dislikes in public, what he doesn't like about the show. We'll have some constructive criticism, Jeff.
Yeah, no, hey, I mean, I'm always up for that. As many know, I'm always up for that. Big Man OC, back to your point about the Dodgers game. The Astros don't hit Tillman well. Tillman is worse this season than the previous. Let me take a look here. I actually want to look at that here. Actually, um, they don't hit Tillman well. Yeah, I mean, some of them don't. You're right. All I'm saying is we need to look at the plate appearances. Not many have a ton of plate appearances there. They don't see Tillman on a very regular basis. He struggled this year. All I'm saying is it's truly a year-to-year kind of thing. Look at the stuff instead of just assuming that they don't hit or do hit someone well.
Yeah, no, I would agree. Getting back to the Costa Rica point, I know Matt Varnum has been in here. We've been talking back behind the scenes, same flight. He's actually coming from Maine, Jeff, flying into Philadelphia, early morning flight. Going to catch a flight with him in Philadelphia, have the same layover down there in Charlotte, get off the plane. You know, I'm sure a lot of us will probably be on these similar planes, have some lunch, relax, kick back, talk, and then finish that flight to Costa Rica. Everybody probably getting at the airport around a similar time, get on the bus, head right on over to the hotel and get that conference started. So it's going to be a lot of fun. I'm really looking forward to it. And again, a lot of people have already reached out to me that are heading down. We're trying to match up some things and make sure everything goes as smooth as possible. So it should be a lot of fun.
Yeah, and I want to shout out a couple of new people, some names that I've never seen in here. Ryan DeSoto, great show this morning. Thank you, sir. Appreciate it. Rostradamus, welcome in. We have plenty of our great loyal people here, but always nice to say hello to the new people. Jake Googie.
Yes, I've seen Jake in here before.
Interesting name. I've never seen him in here. So welcome in. All you new people, welcome in. We hope you enjoy our show. Let's move on, Donnie. Yes, for me, I would go over the posted total in Astros and Baltimore.
Yep, absolutely. I'm just reading the chat box through a couple of notes that Cynthia added me about something. I don't know what the at was about or what I should be answering back, but hopefully that'll be popping up on the chat box here in a second. Let's keep it moving down the list, Jeff. We're going to go to your boy Cash Kashner and the Texas Rangers heading down to face the ace on the mound in Tampa Bay, Chris Archer. 64% of the current bets coming in publicly on the Tampa Bay Rays. Line opened up strong, Jeff, minus 200. Looks like it's sitting back in that minus 175, minus 185 range, depending on where you get. Our good bet friends at Bet Online, Jeff, chiming in at an 8.5 total, and also looks like a minus 175 plus 165 split. Cashner's been okay on the road, 4.33 ERA. Last three starts haven't been bad, 3.86. Chris Archer, home starts 3.84, last three starts 3.86. You get what you get with Archer, Jeff. You could probably lean on what? 6 innings, 2 earned runs, 7 innings, 2 earned runs, something in that fashion. Blow up ability is what we like to look at a lot of times. Chris Archer is really not that guy. When he gets hit, it's usually maybe a 3 earned run type of ball game. But that's a stiff line for me to be taking Tampa Bay at home. You know, Souza might not play in this ball game, a little bit banged up lineup. And not too much overall in this game, over-underwise what I'd be leaning for, but I don't want to lay that much money with Chris Archer in Tampa Bay right now.
Yeah, and, for over the years, Chris Archer is a guy that doesn't get a ton of run support. That's just kind of how it goes. You look at some of his games recently, I mean, they're always one-run games, it seems like. He's always in one-run games. I don't have much in this game. For me, it was a pass. I don't see much value. I love Archer, and I like this Rays team, and I don't like Texas on the road, but I don't really want to lay, 180 with this game. And it's just because I don't lay that kind of price. If this was 142, I would gladly lay it. But at 184, it's just too high for me. But I think they will win Tampa Bay. So if you're in the market for a parlay or something, that might be a good play to have.
I know I'm laughing at some of the stuff going on in the chat box there, but I do agree with your sentiments there.
I'd like to point this out. If you don't like someone, take it off the chat box. I don't care about people's issues. Jimmy, I know he's coming at you. Just go somewhere else, Jake. If you're going to come in here and talk crap, Jimmy's a friend of the show. I don't want to hear you talking about him. You don't like him, go talk about him somewhere else. Because if you come in here just to troll him, I'm not going to put up with it. I don't like when people do it to me, so I'm not going to allow it to be done to someone that we enjoy having on the show. So if you don't like him, get the fuck off here and do something else with your life, because I don't have time for it, and I don't need to be polluting the chat here. So, take it somewhere else.
Next here up on the docket, good segue into the Motor City, Jeff. 969, 970, Zimmerman and Gibson here on the mound. Two of the aces in baseball that usually we pick on. So if you're going to bet this game, you're going to have to pick a side. I was lucky with Zimmerman in his last start, pulling a rabbit out of a hat versus the Kansas City Royals. Can he do it again today, Jeff? 50-50 split on tickets, a minus 106. Basically, pick 'em opening up the line with that 50-50 split, but has since gone up a little bit. Chris showing a -126, good friends at BetOnline, and -115. Looks like they're expecting some runs here, Jeff, in the Twin Cities, and over-under of 10.5. I escaped last night, fading Irvin Santana. They got to him right away in that ball game. Nice, clean 6-3 victory for Detroit, where the bullpen actually held up last night. I didn't have too much to sweat about, which was really nice about that ball game. Looking at the particulars here, Jeff, road starts here for Zimmerman. Had a decent last start, but overall in the season, Jeff, a 6.29 ERA on the road. Gibson, not much better at home. 9 starts, 7.20 ERA. Two of my typically fadeable pitchers here, Jeff, matching up against one another. Just looking at line movement here, looks like it's a Twins line here, buddy.
Yeah, I mean, why the hell is Kyle Gibson a favorite? I guess
that's the whole point. Yep.
And I mean, it's not like Minnesota's playing well. I mean, their offense is really struggling. And Donnie, they've lost 31 of 45 over the last 3 seasons to the Minnesota Twins. I mean, or to the Detroit Tigers. They don't play well in this series. Minnesota. It doesn't really make a lot of sense to back them here. Detroit's playing well. This looks like a good spot to back Minnesota. And Donnie, I mean, you look at Zimmerman. I mean, his last 2 starts against the Twins, 12 earned runs in 11 2/3 innings, 15 hits, 5 walks. Yeah, I hear you. I'm not big into this game either. It's a pass, but I hear what you're saying with Minnesota. It looks like a Twin line here. I mean,
yeah, and I mean, Kyle Gibson getting a lot of support here. Obviously, 50-50 ticket split, but Vegas moving that line a little bit higher and higher. I do want to point out in this game another interesting one. You have the Ian Kinsler rumors swirling around, maybe how quickly that might take shape. Because keep in mind, Jeff, this is a night game. Let's just say for some reason they might want to hold him out if, things get a little bit heated with Milwaukee. Also last night in the game, Miggy left that game getting blasted on a ground ball, sort of a bad hop to first base, caught him up in that collarbone area. So he exited, I believe, in like the 5th or the 6th inning. So if he sits out tonight, that's a huge cog, and that may be what some of the people are trying to jump that line on. Just some food for thought to take a look at that. But I agree. Gibson is a favorite here. It's one of those things where we joke about when the Phillies are a favorite, you got to maybe peel off the onions, peel off a layer of the onions, as you like to say, Jeff. Maybe there is something a little bit more to it here that Gibson should be a favorite.
Yeah, no, I hear you on that. And, when you look at those kind of games, you want to look at and say, is there any way I think the Twins can win? No, but I'm probably going to bet them anyway because it doesn't make any sense here. It's hard for me to bet on Minnesota really right now, but this looks like the play. Donnie, I want to say one other thing. A lot of people here talking about wanting to call people out for certain things. If you're not coming on videos and giving out picks on a daily basis, shut the hell up. No one cares about your opinion. You're just some kid in a basement on a computer. No one cares about your opinion. We don't believe that you bet great. No one cares. If you don't come on here every day and give out picks, nobody gives a shit about your opinion, about how you cap games. We love to talk about games here, but don't come on here and call people out over their numbers when you don't come on here and give out anything. Don't be that guy. Come on here, have some fun, talk about games with us. We love doing it. But don't be that guy that has to be some detective because you were bullied in high school and you want to call everyone out for it. No one has time for it. It's the last time I'm going to say it. And if it happens again on here about anyone that we respect on the show, you're gone. I'm getting you out of here. I'm not putting up with it anymore. We come on here to put out good information, and I'm sick of these detective Keystone cops coming out of the jungle to call people out for it. It's stupid, and it's not something I want to hear on a regular basis. I'm sick of it. I'm tired of these wannabe policemen that didn't make the police academy that are, trash truck drivers. Now they want to come out and be, detectives all of a sudden.
Yeah, there you go. There's the rant. Hopefully got through to some people out there, but we'll keep it moving on the baseball docket and try to pick out some winners here. Toronto, Jeff, and Cleveland, 2 enigmatic teams, sometimes tough to bet. The ace, Marcus Stroman, is on the mound here for the Blue Jays, going against Danny Salazar. 60% back on the road team here, Jeff, along with 68% of the money. Line opened up a strong favorite for Cleveland at -146. Money coming in right behind Stroman, Jeff, down to a 117 at Chris. We even have our good friends at BetOnline down to a -123. Over under in this scenario, Jeff, opened up at 8.5. Chris has 9. Looks like a mix between 8.5s with double juice and 9 across the board. 2 of these lineups, when they get going, can hit. But I've always been a fan of Marcus Stroman and his pitching capabilities. We'll see if that translates today. Taking a look at overall numbers, last 3 games for Stroman, Jeff, a 1.45 little dyslexia right here. ERA through his last three, 6 point, excuse
You
me.
all right over there?
Yeah, Jesus. 3.61 road ERA. Salazar, not very good at home, Jeff, a 5.16 ERA. One of the guys I like to back with Toronto, Jeff, home and away, is Marcus Stroman. He's got really good stuff, tends to go deep in the ball games, taking out that bullpen. Looking at Cleveland, the struggles they've had this year, Salazar, when good, can get it going. But I'm not interested in Cleveland right now as a favorite, especially against a really good pitcher.
No, they looked good last night, didn't they? Finally started to kind of score some runs, but both these teams are very hard to gauge, particularly Toronto. I mean, you never know when this team's going to show up or not. We've talked about, Donnie, them being sellers. I mean, why isn't this team getting rid of some of their old players? I mean, I heard they got offers for Bautista. It's time to start selling a little bit. I mean, you're not winning anything. And Salazar in Cleveland, I mean, they've just been average. It's hard for me to gauge anything here with this series. Not looking to really lay any number with either team. For me, it's a total pass. This is one of those games where I just didn't really see much here.
No, you're right about that. If you're asking me, I want to bet a game. Who am I going to bet in this game? Give me Toronto with Stroman on the mound today, getting that plus money. The line is moving accordingly in that situation. It's still at a dog price there. So if you're looking to get Stroman, you can get him at plus 107, plus 114, plus 113. I think it's a decent play. Now, depending on some lineups. Now, if Toronto comes out and just says, Donaldson's going to sit this one out. Smoke's going to sit this one out. Maybe I'm going to switch it up a little bit. But I just like Marcus Stroman on the year. I also caught Stroman, Jeff, on one of his worst starts of his career where he was back versus the New York Yankees. And I believe Toronto put up 4 runs in the first inning versus CC Sabathia, and I took a loss in that game. So still stings me. He does owe me some money, but has won a few games for me lately. Taking a look, Jeff, we'll go with the next one. We're going to go Pelfrey.
Hey, Donnie.
Yeah, go ahead, buddy.
D. Patrick saying no one wants to shit veterans on the Toronto Blue Jays. I mean, I don't think he's wrong. I mean, who the hell wants?
Well, they're high priced too. You're not getting a spring chicken, and you're going to pay a premium for them all. You're right. I agree.
Yeah, I mean, Bautista's hitting 227 this year.
I can't stand him.
He only has 16 home runs. I mean, Donaldson, I know he's been injured a lot, but just 9 home runs, a 241 average. A lot of these guys, I mean, heavy contracts, and who the hell wants to pay them? I mean, it's just not something. At the end of the day, it's not something I would want to pay for it. And they're kind of in a tough spot, and we can all kind of blame Alex Apostolopoulos or whatever his name is for his issues. I mean, he really kind of ruined this team overall.
And Jeff, you want to talk about a slow-built ball club? Toronto is a slow ball club with anchors all over the place on bases, man.
And by the way, Donnie, did you hear? I meant to tell you. Did you hear about the joke last night that was made about you and Peter Loshak? Did you hear that?
No. Who made the joke?
Somebody made it. I forget who it was, but it was pretty funny that Joe Duffy is an offspring of you and Peter Loshak.
How they merged us? Like, I like that. Like they just said.
I guess he has like pieces of both of you in him. Like you look like you. 34 days till college football. Very great point, Joe. And Donnie.
Yes.
Told you last night, I got some cool things coming up for college football.
Yes, you do.
As long as they get approved by SBR, which I'll have to talk to our friend Zach next week, you might see the big man on a big stage coming up.
The big man yelling at it. Big man's going to have the microphone or the megaphone, I should say, for this one. That should be a lot of fun and good stuff there. Jeff, also, can we please do a special show? And it might only be 5 to 10 minutes. That maybe even before the first preseason game, the Hall of Fame NFL game. Can we come on and just have some fun and just, make jokes about betting on preseason?
Donnie, Monday night, I actually have allotted 20 minutes. I've allotted Monday night for you to discuss your disdain for preseason NFL betting, and I'll actually possibly build on a little. I don't hate it like you do, but I do hate spring training betting, so I guess I can build on that. Jeff, last night you talked about some guy giving you advice on betting baseball. Can you please expand on that? Tell us what he said and if it is proven to be true. It wasn't really him telling me about betting on baseball. All it was, Donnie, was when I was younger, in my teens, there was a guy on Sartain Street in South Philadelphia. He owns a couple businesses there, and he's a bookmaker. And I would always try to get him to take my baseball bets, and he would never take them. And I'd always ask him, why don't you take my baseball? Like, what is the issue here? And he's like, people in South Philly don't bet baseball. I don't have baseball. I don't book baseball. It's not profitable. And if you're a smart sports bettor, you'll never bet baseball. That's what he always told me. And I wish I would have listened, because I think a lot of it over the years he's been right on. But yes, in South Philadelphia, it's more of just an inference that most bookmakers, as far as old school, do not take baseball. They just totally take the season off because it's just not very profitable, and they don't get any action. So that was kind of just something that I always had remembered. To all the new listeners, this is the best breakdown show in the business. I've cashed in plenty of times with these guys over multiple sports, and that's what matters most. Thank you, Burns. Burns, a great listener. Please don't touch preseason NFL. Joe, that's music to Donnie Wrightside ears.
It is. It is.
Big man on campus. I can't wait for NCAA football. You kicked ass last year. That's when I started paying attention. Thank you, Cambridge. I hope to do quite well as well. And Donnie, you know, both of us take a real love for college football. We definitely love the small conferences, and we got some good things planned here at SBR coming up. So I'm excited about that. We're kind of on a tangent. Just want to keep going through here. I've already locked in a week 1 pick. I took South Alabama plus 24.5 against Ole Miss after got escorted out. That's a great. I saw that.
That's good. See, I like that stuff. That's thinking outside the box stuff right there.
Yeah, the problem with Southern Alabama or South Alabama is they're not very good, and I don't think they're going to sneak up on any SEC team, especially after last year against Mississippi State. But you would be right. I mean, Ole Miss will struggle. They're going to go back eventually to what they once were. Those years of them getting that they were a number 1 ranked team 2 years ago. Had a great secondary. Chad Kelly. We're just great. That's going to go away. And Hugh Freeze is to blame for that. 78 likes. We need 22 more likes, Donnie. Keep liking the show. We'd love to get to 100. Let's move on with more baseball, Donnie.
Yeah, one quick thing here, Jeff. Seth Hagen brings up a good point here that we might be able to expound on a little bit. Decent. If you could give one piece of advice to sports gambling to someone new to the game besides don't bet, what would it be, Jeff?
Find something else to do with your time.
No, it can't be that.
if I could give a piece of advice, that's tough. I mean, because I would never tell someone how to spend their money. Are you talking about being a tout or just?
No. I think it like if the way I read the question, the way I would answer it, if somebody said, "What's the one bit of advice you could be?" I would say set aside money that you can afford to lose. Where if you lose the game, it doesn't ruin your night. You don't get mad at your wife. You don't get mad at your girlfriend. You can't spend your money or your rent. Set it aside as more fun as opposed to betting for a living, because most people don't bet for a living out there. You bet because you want a piece of the action. So the money that you can bet, and if you don't sweat it, that's how to enjoy it.
Yeah, I would say, and this is just something that I've always done, and it's kind of why I've, at the end of the day, I do somewhat know what I'm talking about. I've entrenched myself in the business. If you're going to do this as a hobby, take it seriously. If your hobby is fixing cars, you don't just fix it halfway and say, well, that was fun. Gotta go do something else now. That's an Adderall needed way of thinking. You need to go out and get some Adderall if that's the way you're thinking. If you're going to do something, do it. Set aside money like Donnie said. Put your time in. Find out the info. At the end of the day, I don't want to belittle what I'm doing, but I don't think this is something that anyone can't do. I will say it is hard to get on camera and do what we're doing, but at the end of the day, if you put the time in, you treat it like a business, it will pay like a business. When you do a hobby, Donnie, and like I said, if you go out with a girl and you're right there about to have sex with her, you don't say, well, I guess I'm going to go home now. No, you take it and you get the job done, Donnie. You don't just sit back and go 75% of the way. Give it your all. You're not going to win every game. And just remember, Donnie, you only need to win about 55% of the time to make a lot of money in this business. So remember, in what sport or what hobby or what way of work can you do 55% good and make a ton of money? Not many of those, Donnie. Are there?
No. And again, the funny thing about being a gambler, running a service, where people depend on you, it's funny how you can tell the time of the day, and you can tell if I won or lost, even if you don't know who I am. Even if, Jeff, you have a girlfriend, or if you don't have a girlfriend, I have a wife. She can always tell whether I'm winning or losing, because it's like, hey, babe, what do you want to do tonight? You want to go out to dinner? It probably means I won and I'm feeling good. Or, hey, do you want to go run an errand with me? Yeah, I don't feel that good. Like, you know what I mean? Like, everybody out there knows those type of stories where it's like, hey, can you take the trash out? Sure, I'll be up in a minute. I'm probably up like 4-1 in a ball game. Just gave up a double in the gap to lose the league. Can you take the trash out for me? Leave me alone.
I hear you. It's very moody, and
It is.
if you're moody already, it really hurts. I know the other night, Donnie, I want to point that out. The other night, I was at my mother's birthday party, right?
Yeah.
And it was one of those fucking afternoon games, that Rays Oakland game. I'm sitting there watching it. They're up 2-0. I'm feeling great. Hey, what balloons do you need me to blow up?
Yes.
You know, I'll do. You want me to go get ice? I got you.
Mm-hmm.
Then the fifth inning or sixth inning comes, and my brother walks in. Hey, how you doing? Fuck you. What do you want? You know, I don't want to talk to anybody. It's like, and he goes, what happened? I'm like, he goes, you lost the game? I'm like, yeah. And you pretty much know.
No, you know. Yep.
But yeah, it's money management. I will say this. I think I went broke a lot. I mean, I go broke all the time. Everyone's went broke. I can't say I've always lived with money management, but I would say make sure you're separating your money between your real life and your betting.
Yeah, Jeff, I was down on the boardwalk. This might have been like 2-3 weeks ago. I had the wife, the kid, my mother and father, obviously her grandparents, walking on the boardwalk, getting some pizza and stuff. I keep checking my phone. They want to go into this store. I'm like, oh, I got to go into another store. So I go sit down, and I couldn't get very good internet reception there. But eventually when it came through, it had a nice inning, like 3 or 4 runs to push a total over. I'm like, all right, man, who wants ice cream? Let's go. Who wants to get on some rides now? And like, yeah,
it just makes you feel instantly better.
Yeah, you're exactly right. You're exactly right, man.
And that's why you like it. It's just, it's that euphoric. And that's why people always ask me, like, why don't you drink and why don't you smoke and why don't you do drugs or whatever? And because I get the euphoric high from this. I mean, this is all the high I need. I don't need any other high. It's not necessary. But it's great stuff. Yeah, I'd love to do a fantasy football league. That would be awesome. I would love to kind of we do need to get a certain amount of people, though. Obviously, we can't have 50 people, but we should get a wide array of people and have that. That would be fun.
No, it would be. It could create a lot of interest. We'll work on doing something like that in the future. Obviously, Cynthia's chiming in on that stuff as well. It's a lot of fun and a way for the community to keep together, and that's what we like to do. Jeff, got a couple more baseball games.
4 more, yep.
Yep, let's get to it. Chicago White Sox, Kansas City Royals. Pelfrey on the mound versus Vargas. A couple weeks ago, you might have thought you had a pretty good pitching duel in your hand. Not so much lately. Check this out, Jeff. 20% of the tickets are coming in on the Chicago White Sox, but 85% of the money is backing the Chicago White Sox. Line opened up at -184, has peeled back to 170 at Chris, 170 at BetOnline also. So you have 80% of the tickets, but only filtering through 15% of the money. It's kind of an interesting breakdown. And how about runs in Kansas City, Jeff? Over under at 11, pretty much across the board. BetOnline actually showing a 10.5, but you're going to have to pay almost 3 times the juice in order to get that. So it looks like some runs are anticipated out there. Pelfrey's last 3 starts, Jeff, 6.92 ERA. Vargas off the rails, Jeff, almost an 8 ERA over his last 3. Everybody was expecting regression out there. Looks like it finally came home for both of these pitchers.
Yeah, I don't think anyone's surprised that Vargas is regressing. Last 2 games, 12 earned runs over 7 2/3. But you look at Pelfrey, he's been crushed lately also. They've lost 7 in a row, the White Sox, only hitting .207 during that time. Royals laid a big number last night, Donnie, and got the job done. They didn't cover the run line, which I bet. And, I've noticed with Kansas City, they win a lot of run games, don't they, Donnie? I've noticed that. But, yeah, I don't have anything on this game. I'm not laying 175 with Jason Vargas. There's nothing interesting about this game at all. Are you guys doing any suicide picks in the NFL? I mean, we could help you. I mean, I know Donnie's
I'm awful at that, Jeff. I'm the guy who's out in the first 3 weeks damn near every single year.
Yeah, I don't – again, we can try to help you for sure. We'll have some shows at SBR that we're getting together here. Will there be a show at 11 during college football Saturday? We're working on that, Best Gambler. Donnie, Best Gambler has been with me. He's listened to me since I first started my podcast, like 4 or 5 years ago. He was on there. He's been one of my most loyal people I've ever had. So, yes, of course, Best Gambler, we'll have something for you. Donnie, for this one, though, nothing, no opinion.
Yeah, that's just an interesting line. I mean, that's not typically the ballpark that you're going to, screech and holler about getting runs in, but it looks like they're going to anticipate that. Yoán Moncada getting his first, RBIs last night as well. So that rehabilitation rebuild process for the Chicago White Sox is underway. We'll see how that turns out. Next up on the docket, Jeff. Let's go out west. Price and Ramirez on the mound today, 79% No surprise backing David Price here on the road versus the Angels. Opened up, however, 139, Jeff, simmering back down into the lower 130s. You actually at BetOnline, Jeff, now have minus 126 of some good reverse action here coming in on Ramirez and the Angels. There's only 21% of the tickets here. David Price's last 3 starts. So see, this is where it's funny to me, Jeff. You have David Price on the mound. Obviously, the pitching matchup favors Boston. Boston's playing a little bit better. I know the Angels are at home, but you have a guy on the mound with an ERA of under 1, lighting it up in his last 3 starts. Ramirez, who was shaky his last home start, 0-5 at home. Hasn't even won a game through 9 starts at home. And then you have that reverse line movement kicking into gear. This is where they play around with you through the dogs in the summertime. This is a prime example. And again, if you're just saying, I'm going to take the Angels because I think they're going to send the right-handed bats out, they're going to hit well, I hear you on that. But it's funny to be a contrarian because you're just betting against the unknown of what's going to happen. But it does work. I'm a big believer in being a contrarian, but just one of those games that you look at and say, I see why Price is favored. Look at that, minus 126 for Price on the mound versus Ramirez, who most people don't even know who it is. This is a prime false flag type of game. It's just wild.
Yeah, it is, and that's the exactly my thought. I wrote trap line ? Boston crushes right-handed pitching. Ramirez has been very average at home. He's actually been more bad than good at home. Price has been absolutely marvelous lately. This one looks like a really easy play, doesn't it, Donnie? Minus 125, minus 130. David Price is a .90 ERA over his last 3 starts. I mean, look at yesterday. The same. You can expect, like, Sale goes out there, kicks the hell out of the Angels, and then you come back with another lefty ace the very next night, and then you hang that line out there on him. Yeah, if I had to play this, I would probably take the Angels. I don't – this line just looks too good to be true. But Price has been one of those guys that's really defied odds lately. Rich, say you bet 1K on an over. Yeah, he's talking about lightning bets, Donnie. I don't know if you know what that is, but they're big in South Philly. Go ahead. What are we talking about, buddy? Basically – you make a bet on, let's say, like he's saying, on an over 180 in a basketball game. Every point that goes over 180 is worth 1,000. And if any point under 180, you would lose 1,000. So it's you can make a ton of money though. So like, let's say you have let's say Ohio State's minus 13 and they win by 20. I couldn't handle that as a gambler. I couldn't do it. Yeah, I couldn't do it. I've done them before, not for a lot of money, but I've had friends of mine that have won 10, 20, 30,000 doing those. A suicide bet is just, it's a pool you're in where you pick a game every week, and as you have to keep winning every week to continue. But once you use a team, you can't use them again. So in the NFL, let's say you take the Raiders first week and they win, you move to the second week, but you can't take the Raiders again. So you're mixing and matching teams very situationally. So, but yeah, lightning bets wouldn't be for the faint of heart. They're not for people that, if you don't have a ton of money to lose, they're probably not things you should do. But you can make a lot of money if you get a local bookmaker to take them. Where are we at, Donnie? Two more to go here. Are you doing a college football podcast this season? I'm doing whatever we come up with a sin at SBR. We'll see where it goes. I know we're working on some things now, Donnie, aren't we? Yes, there's a lot of good stuff coming up on the shows behind the scenes. That's probably not for me or Jeff to really discuss just about yet, but get excited. You're going to see a lot of me and the big man here coming up in the fall either way, so it's going to be a lot of fun. Yeah, Donnie, we should I wish there was a book that took lightning bets on the internet. That would be fun. I mean, I sweat out regular bets. You kidding me? Heading down the stretch in a situation. Imagine if you had a lightning bet in like a football over-under and your guy fumbles inside the 5-yard lines. I mean, I don't know if I could make it. I'm an old man, Jeff. And that's how it goes. I mean, you can make a ton of money or a lot of money, lose a lot of money. Yeah. Jeff, next up on the docket, 977, 978. I got to say it. I was down before the break on the New York Yankees, but sort of flipped the script in here the last 2 nights. I did not take the New York Yankees, but anybody, asking for advice or what they thought about it, I thought they were in some really good spots. And you know me, Jeff, I've been a CC downer, but in certain situations, CC is going to thrive. Yesterday in Seattle was one of those. It's not a real hot, type of place. It's a bigger ballpark. CC is going to tend to throw some fly balls out there. But again, it's now you have in your mind with the New York Yankees as a starting pitching lineup. I have to get through 5 innings here.
And I have hammers coming in behind me to get the victory. Let's take a look at Seattle today, Jeff. Tanaka versus Miranda. 63% are backing the road team here, New York Yankees. Line opened up at -130, sitting in that same type range, maybe in the -130s across the board midway. 8.5 as a total between both of those. Not going to lie, Jeff. Again, I'm going to lean towards the New York Yankees in this situation. Tanaka's been bad on the road. I get it. 10 starts, a 5.88 ERA, 4.26 through his last 3 starts. Miranda's been decent at home this year at 3.23 ERA. ERA tending to climb a little bit in his last 3 starts. But, Jeff, right now, I mean, before the break, you were limping. Castro was out. Holiday was out. You know, Aaron Judge bouncing, you know, coming back from the break here, struggling a bit. But now you fortified that bullpen where if you can get decent pitching out of your starting lineup, Jeff, the Yankees are going to be a tough out here.
No, they are, and they're starting to get back to it, Donnie, offensively. That home run last night from Judge was fucking beautiful. I mean, that was – I mean, what? My God. I mean, amazing. But, yeah, I like the Yankees myself here. Tanaka's had very good success over the years against this lineup. You look at in a good amount of appearances, Cruz and Cano really struggled against Tanaka. Cruz hitting .56, Cano hitting 188. The problem, though, I have with the Yankees in this game, they've never seen Miranda, and they always seem to struggle against guys that they have never seen before or guys that they should be able to hit. Both these teams have been underachievers. 8 unders in a row for the Yankees, 4 unders in a row for Seattle. Yankees struggle against lefties. And you look at both these teams. I mean, opponents are only hitting .238 against the Yankees. Opponents hitting .238 in Safeco. I kind of like the under. The one concern I have, the umpire in this game is an over-ump. He's one of the better over-umps in baseball. I would lean Yankees. I think they'll be able to get to Miranda a little bit. And with that bullpen now fortified, I think the Yankees are a good price here. Tanaka should be good tonight.
Yeah, I would agree. Again, I've been on the last 2 nights. I thought the Yankees were a solid play. The night before, I thought it was a little bit too pricey for me to jump on, which was hovering right in that mid-140s, but you got a little bit better price last night, I believe, with CC Sabathia once it closed. But they're playing well. The bullpen is there, and Jeff, I'm turning around on what the New York Yankees prospects would be. Flip them for a really good pitcher coming up here, and then most importantly, Jeff, keep them healthy. And they have every chance at winning the division or getting a wild card as anybody else. You know?
Yeah, I was on with Danny B last week on his LA radio show, and he asked me who I thought would win this division. I still said I thought the Yankees would. Now, this was before they went and made this trade, but I had a feeling they would. Yeah, I agree with you. I think as far as who you traded from Philly, yeah, I agree with you. Nishak, that would be the only guy I would think. Maybe
and if somebody's going to take, if you needed a 4th or 5th starter down the stretch to take Hellickson. But other than that, I don't really know. I mean, you're going to trade Tommy Joseph. Position players don't really go for that much these days. Most people are looking for bullpen help and frontline starting pitching. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah, I definitely – I mean, I don't care too much, but I think Nishak would definitely be a viable guy to grab. He's been fantastic.
Great guy. You could bring him in the 6th or 7th inning to get you through a clean inning. He's been unbelievable this year for the Phillies, but he's a good he's been a good pitcher over his career. Last up on the docket, Jeff, 979, 980, interleague action, Oakland and the New York Mets. Last night, one of my long shot dog plays was hanging in there for a while, but the A's, in effect, went down, lost by 2 last night, even though they did have a 3-2 lead into the 6th inning and also had bases loaded and 1 out, down 7-5 in the 8th inning, couldn't cash in. I believe Yonder Alonso and Chris Davis couldn't push any runs across the plate, but neither here nor there. Let's take a look today. A little bit better pitcher on the mound for Oakland with Minaya versus Zach Wheeler. 65% of the total bets coming in right now, Jeff, on Oakland, along with 67% of the actual money. Line is moving, not that much, -109, basically a pick 'em opened up in favor of the New York Mets, -113, -114, -115 across the board. So line not moving too much here. Menea's 3.72 ERA through 8 road starts. Wheeler has a 5.52 ERA, Jeff, through 9 home starts. Don't have too much on this game. I don't really know if I want to back Wheeler. I don't know what Oakland's going to come up with today, but one would think that Lowry's going to be back in the lineup today for Oakland, along with Alonso, so a little bit better hitting there. A tough break last night, actually, for players like myself. A hard-hit ground ball to first base, which could have been a double play ball to get Oakland out of the inning and save a 3-2 lead. Turned into a disaster. Hit Ryan Healy in the head, which turned out to be an infield hit, as well as a botched play that somebody threw the ball. I believe it was Chapman, the third baseman, threw the ball that went all the way into the right field corner, scoring another run. So a little bit hapless. But again, Jeff, when you're betting dogs, you're betting Oakland on the road, and you're betting Oakland's defense. Don't you kind of have to live with that along with the wager?
Yeah, they're one of the worst defenses in baseball. I mean, other than Atlanta, I think they are the worst, or they actually may be the worst.
I think they're the worst defensive team in Major League Baseball. That's my opinion, yes.
Yeah. Wheeler's been horrible. I mean, really bad. And you look at it in his 16 starts, 10-3-3 to the over. Donnie, just want to do our weekly tabulation of Mets overs. 54-30 to the over this year, 30-15 at home to the over, 43-15 to the over in night games. Just amazing stuff from over stuff this year. Both these pitchers I don't trust, especially Wheeler. Donnie, Brian Gorman, the umpire tonight, 10 of his 14 umped games have gone over. You look at in his games, he's averaging 11 runs per game. In 3 games this year, he's given up and umped 18 runs in those 3 games. He's had 18-plus runs in 3 different games this year, 20 or more runs in 2 different games this year. Brian Gorman is an over umpire. He's a guy that you're going to see runs in his games. I don't really see why you don't just keep betting overs here. And you look at the move, 8.5 up to 9. The money's going on the over, and it makes sense. They're not throwing out a weird line. I think they're backing and thinking Manaea will be pretty good here, but I think he'll give up 4 runs. And both bullpens definitely have holes. I mean, right now the A's bullpen is really hurting. They don't have much in that bullpen after Madsen and Doolittle are gone. I think the over 9 is a good play. And probably one of my more favorite plays of the day.
Yeah, opened up at 8.5, quickly bet to 9. Looks like Pinnacle actually showing a triple juice 8.5, but obviously that's not real sound market investment to play triple juice on a lot of plays. But yeah, I would agree with you. I think Manaea actually is the better pitcher here. But Wheeler, again, Matt's in his last 2 starts was bad. Oakland actually could have touched him up really good in the first inning. They actually had a run across the board, nobody out, and still first and second, and Chris Davis hit it to a double play, and they couldn't get any more runs there. But they could have thrown a hammer right away. Also, I know you always talk about this thing we do going on the first inning over 1 run or scoring a run in the first inning. It happened again last night. Seems like every Mets game, somebody's loading it up or getting a couple runs or pushing it across the plate, which again, Jeff, talks about the same thing going over for the game. Score runs in the first inning, score runs the rest of the way. You know what I mean?
Yeah, he's I know this thing we do has been big on the over in the first. I know last night, Donnie, I mean, my God, I mean, it seemed like every game there was a run in the first inning over.
A lot of scoring last night. If you were an over backer, last night was, smorgasbord for you out there.
Yeah, thanks for listening, Corey. We appreciate it. Guys, 9 more likes. We got about 5 more minutes here to go. 9 likes. We're going to start firing off some trips for people. Blackburn can pitch, not overpowering, but good at locating. Yeah, he's been very good, Paul Blackburn.
No, he had a very good 5th inning. He was in a lot of trouble, worked his way out of it. But again, you do need some breaks in there. The very next inning, that, just a bad break on a ground ball that could have gotten them out, and maybe Oakland wins that game overall. But again, Jeff, they had their chances. There's always a chance when you have the Mets bullpen out there, and they had their chance to do it, loaded the bases up, just couldn't push any across. 1 base hit, and that's a completely different situation. But that's the way you get. When you take long shot wagers like that, you're going to have to live with some bonehead plays because, again, that's why they're the underdog.
And he loves pitching for Oakland. I mean, he's a hometown kid. Reminds you a little bit of Freeland in Colorado. It's been really good overall. Good for him. Jeff and Donnie, who would be the 2 biggest buying and 2 selling teams? I don't know why that's such a big people love that question as bettors.
Well, I mean, what would you say? Like, bad teams are going to sell. The teams that think they're going to make a push are going to make a move.
And that's why that question for me is always tough to answer. I don't think I think maybe he's talking about the fringe teams, but yeah, I think buying teams would be. I still think the Nationals are going to make another move. I mean, we have to figure out what the health of Turner and Eaton is because I don't think that's going to cut it. The Michael Taylors and the Wilmer Defoes and Goodwins, is Cleveland done? Are they done making moves? They haven't made any.
It's interesting with Washington, Jeff. They were looking to pick apart the Pittsburgh Pirates a little bit when they were fading because McCutchen, since he got hot, that would have been a smooth transition to put him in center field for the Nationals. Now you have McCutchen hot, Pittsburgh getting into the race. Maybe that price almost doubles for McCutchen. So not a lot of help out there. But if you're asking me, like, the key moves that need to be made, Jeff, you're New York Yankees, got to get yourself a starting pitcher. That's Sonny Gray. The way Sonny Gray is pitching now, there's going to be, an arms race between Houston and the Yankees just to get him to see if they can make that next move. He's going to be one of those key cogs. But there's a lot of teams out there in buy and sell mode. Agree with Washington. They need one more bullpen guy, maybe a hard and fast closer that they can put in there. But they also need somebody who's going to be in the top of that lineup. Is Trey Turner out for the entire year, or does he have a chance?
I believe he is.
Yeah, that kills them. kills them.
And you know what sucks, Donnie? I want to point out one team that I thought would be sellers, but obviously they're playing well, so they won't be, is the Royals. I mean, they're kind of in a bad predicament because if they don't make the playoffs, what do you do with Hosmer? What do you do with –
No, you're right. It's a bit – because, Jeff, if you say from the Yankees' perspective, I always like to use it because the Yankees don't care about spending money. They'll pay it. And you said, you know what? We think we're going to make a run. Let's hold on to it. Because at the end of the year, the Yankees just make moves to re-sign those guys. We're talking about Kansas City. It's not one guy where they say, boy, we have to make a decision if we want to pay a guy $100 million. You have a few, maybe $100 million guys out there that you're going to have to pay. So do you want to get it back like they used to in the past and make the trades and blow it up and say, we don't have a shot? Or do you want to ride it out? Because chances are, Jeff, if you ride it out, you might lose all of them.
Yeah, no, I hear you on that. Amen. They have to decide what they're doing. I mean, they really do, because if they get to a point where they're not going to win it, and I don't know if they're going to win anything. I don't.
No, they're not. That's the point of it too, because again, they operate a lot differently. I know it's a little bit bigger now. There's more money in baseball, but you're right. You're not making a decision on, are we going to lose, one guy? You might lose a few of the cornerstones of your franchise.
Yeah, no, and they're not going to win the World Series, so it's time to maybe make a move. Speaking of not having a shot, Seattle Storm with Sue Bird. You have a weird thing about that. I don't know if you're just trying to be funny or what, but you have a weird dislike for Sue Bird. I'm not sure why. But all right, guys, here's what we're gonna do. 93 is, I think, good enough, Donnie, isn't it?
Yeah.
We just got there. I think mostly everyone in here liked the show. If you want to go to Costa Rica and you're interested, let us know. You got 2 minutes. If you have a passport, you want to come down and have some fun, a free trip, basically, let us know right now. We're going to try to make it happen for you.
Come smoke a cigar with me. Have some cocktails, open bar. I mean, again, talk about giving away trips. It was like, hey, come down and we'll see if we can get you like half off your room. You're talking free room, Jeff. You're talking free breakfast, free lunch, free convention, free transportation from the airport, basically free airfare as well. What a time to be alive, man.
Again, I mean, it's and that's what sucks about not having the ability to go, because I would be there in a second. Give it to a loyal viewer. We'll give it to anyone. Yeah.
Who's out? Who wants to come? Who wants to come out here?
Yeah, I mean, you don't even have to. I mean, we've given it to everyone. I mean, I think we've been very gracious. We've given away, I think, the most trips as in general. Great breakdown. I apologize for not being around. I took off here and there during MLB. Football's right around the corner. We're going to make a lot of money. Yeah, I agree. Take it easy, Cambridge. Harper's Island. I mean, does anyone believe he's going to go?
Let's go. You got a passport? Let's go.
Yeah,
I want to meet the people here. I want to meet the grinders out here who come in each and every day. Sometimes they're happy. Sometimes they're angry. That's
okay. Harper's Island, you're in.
Yeah, let's go. Come on, man.
Get in. Cynthia, let Harper's Island know what he needs to do. He's in. Harper's Island 777 is in. But Harper's Island, you got to stop with the weird comments. You said some odd sexual comments, kind of odd when you're talking to other men. God, if I could get another teacher to cover my class, I'd go. Oh, Easton, you're a teacher? That sucks. Rich Banks has passport issues. All right. Ricky Levine, thank you. Appreciate it, sir. Okay. Harper's Island's out. Harper's Island, you're not going to get a passport in time if you don't have one now.
Go to the post, Jeff. Just go to the post office. They'll make you one up in 30 minutes, I was told.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Well, if you have a birth certificate, you can go right away. If you had a passport before, you can go right away. But Donnie, the show has come to an end. We've been on long today. About an hour and a half. But, hey, people are in here and no one's left. Jake Googie, do you have a passport?
Come on, let's go. Michael Berger's a teacher. He's making it work, man. We're all down. We're all coming down.
Yeah. What do you mean? August 4th, you're in school? Seems a little crazy. Conrado, you're in. Conrado's in. Get Conrado down. Conrado Mendoza, you're in.
Yeah,
if you want to go, Conrado, get in touch with Donnie or I on Twitter, and we'll point you in the right direction.
See Donnie Rightside in person. I mean, you can't beat that, can you, Jeff?
Yeah, I mean, he's a VIP.
Jeff's seen me in person. You know, you saw how excited Jeff was when he saw me in person.
Oh yeah, I couldn't hold back my excitement. I said, "Get me to my damn seat so I can get a damn hot dog."
Yeah.
By the way, Donnie,
me and Jeff didn't even know. I don't even think me and Jeff knew what each other looked like back in the day because we were only doing radio shows and chatting by telephone. So
I remember I met you at the Eagle game the one year.
The Eagles game, yeah, absolutely.
All right, guys. Everyone have a great night. Taylor H.
Yep.
Is Natalie going to be there? I don't know. Natalie, I know, is about to have her first child. So that would be a better question. I haven't talked to Natalie in a couple weeks, but I think that'd be a better question for our friend Cynthia to answer. I would think she would. I know she's in the area. She is married, though, so just remember.
And pregnant.
Yeah, she's about to have a kid. So, Taylor, don't get any wisecrack ideas. All right, guys. Everyone have a great night. Jay Googie, Conrado Mendoza, get in touch with us off the air. We'd love to have you down in Costa Rica. You get to meet Donnie Wrightside. Everyone have a great day. Donnie, before we go, I'll throw out a couple games that I'm looking at. I'm looking at the New York Yankees. I'm looking at the Mets and Athletics over 9. I'm also interested in Baltimore Astros over 11.5. And I do have to say, I do kind of like the Marlins a little bit. Everyone have a great night. We'll be back Monday evening. We'll be here at 10 o'clock Eastern. Have a great night, and we'll see you Monday on the Late Night on Campus.